Claridge's, that most exclusive of hotels in London's West End, at lunchtime today. Times are hard in the record industry, but EMI are celebrating. Against serious opposition, and for very serious money, they've just signed a real superstar.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Bowie.
Can I sit down here? No, I can't. I'll sit here then. About 2 days ago, EMI Records phoned me up in Australia and said, would I like to take a 25-hour flight back? Come and sit in a room with 75 journalists. Over the last year, I've made a couple of movies, and I've completed an album and a single called Let's Dance. And tomorrow, tickets go on sale in the UK, and in the next few days in the rest of Europe, for concert performances in London.
No other pop performer, except perhaps Jagger, could create quite this interest for the media of Europe, or pull off the event with quite such style, particularly if they'd just flown in from Australia. David Bowie is here merely to announce his new album, the first in 3 years, and his first live shows for 5 years. He remains the most influential pop performer to have emerged in the 70s, and not yet put a foot wrong through constant changes of musical direction and a constant emphasis on style. The first tiny hints of that came when he made his first BBC television appearance 19 years ago in 1964. He was then still David Jones and founder of the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Long-Haired Men.
Now, exactly who's being cruel to you?
Well, I think we're all fairly tolerant, but for the last 2 years we've had comments like darling and can I carry a handbag thrown at us. I think it's just had to stop now.
As Bowie, he took those ideas of fashion, style and personal rebellion much further. His music has ranged from rock to black American soul to more experimental electronic dance styles, and his stage image has changed accordingly. This was his creation Ziggy Stardust, making his farewell in 1973. The new single, Let's Dance, shows Bowie changing again to New York black funk styles. It's his first release for EMI after 12 years with another record company, RCA, against whom Bowie now makes the remarkable accusation that they tried to dictate his style. EMI don't give lavish receptions like this very often. They won't say how much they paid for Bowie, but rumours range from 10 million to 17 million pounds for a 5-year contract.
Reportedly so, yes. I'm overwhelmed that I've...
Is that anywhere near accurate?
It's absolutely nowhere near accurate.
Can you give us a more accurate figure?
Of course not. The reason that we parted company, I think, RCA and myself, were that we weren't really recognising each other's qualities to any endearing way. So, and I had such a general burst of enthusiasm for EMI that I couldn't resist.
Well, they really didn't like, RCA really didn't like your last few
albums,
to a point the
where,
and things like that?
No, they really didn't like those albums at all. In fact, one of the executives once suggested that he get me another apartment in Philadelphia so I can go back to writing Young Americans and stuff, which is just not a very sort of healthy atmosphere to write and record in.
But yet, ironically, that's the sort of thing you've done with your first new record for EMI. Not
Yes.
exactly Young Americans, a Philadelphia sound, but a black
Yes.
New York style.
Yeah. Well, it's much better when nobody's actually telling me what to do.
What about the new album? And the single that's out already is
Yeah.
very much more direct, much more rhythm and blues than
Yes.
the recent David Bowie
Yeah.
output.
Yeah, I got to a stage 2 years ago where I found that the experimenting that I was doing was eradicating a lot of the subject matter of my writing. But now I feel for the next few years I'll be concentrating on a lot more basic, earthier kind of material.
More emotional songs?
Yes, I think so, for me anyway.
Is that because of a change in your own outlook and personality?
Yeah, there's a gradual shift, I mean, when you reach mid-30s. I think that there's a period where you have to decide not to try and grasp frantically for the feelings of desperation and anger that you have when you're in your mid-20s. I think And if you can relax into the idea that being mid-30s is quite a nice place to be with an amount of experience behind you, I think the perspective changes.
How seriously do you take the business of writing pop songs?
Very. I mean, I always have. I still think it's one of the most direct and can be one of the most important of the art forms. Quite as important as, I'm sure it's, I guess, replaced painting in terms of defining one's society or culture. Quite definitely.
He treated his press conference more like a cool actor than a cool pop star. Almost like some future Dirk Bogarde in the making.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
But then he has got 2 feature films opening in the next few months, including Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, the first film in 7 years from Japan's controversial director Nagisa Oshima. In the past, your acting roles have very much been as an alien, an outsider in society. Are those the sort of roles you've particularly gone for, or just...?
Yes. I always look for characters who have either an emotional or a physical limp. I find that, for me, not being I don't really see my future in acting to a greater extent than my involvement now. So I really like to have characters that I can at least play around with.
Do you see the acting as more important than the music? I mean, how do you actually judge the importance of the two
They're
sides?
both very different. I mean, one is, up until Oshima, I don't know, my experience may change from now on, but up until Oshima, one is very much under the direction of somebody else's personality and vision. Whereas in my own music, of course, it's the reverse. So I can't really equate them too much. But with Oshima, I was given great freedom to interpret the role very much the way that I saw it.
What about the future? Is it a question of simply picking and choosing different styles of music, different theatrical projects you want to go into, or anything completely different?
Immediate ambition is to direct something for myself. I've had not a little experience with, which is what is fast becoming the new school of filmmaking, learn as you earn, I guess. The promo film, the rock promo, puts its smack over in 4 minutes. But now I want to go into something a little more ambitious, maybe something around 30 minutes. 25 minutes would do.
Is it a question of still wanting to prove something for yourself, or what's the motivation now?
One can't fight the urge to play around with film, and video, and sort of, it's a magic world when you can create that little world and portray its environment and the characters in it. I mean, it becomes obsessive.